Welcome back to the channel, good friends. We are working on the Infinity QX60 again, trying to get this black paint. Soft, thin clear coat. You sneeze in its general direction, it's going to scratch. And then somebody keyed it on top of that. So the first couple feet we did some wet sanding, looked great. The next couple feet we used a rotary and a wool pad, fantastic. And then I promised I would show the next couple feet what it would take to remove it with just a dual action polisher. Now keep in mind, wet sanding you're correcting without spiking temperatures. Heat is the worst enemy of clear coat. Next, the wool pad, a very tiny spike of only maybe 5-10 degrees. The wool lets air flow between the fibers, it keeps things cool, it corrects cool. So wet sanding, rotary with the wool pad, you're correcting and keeping the surface cool. You want to keep the temperature within 20 degrees of the ambient temperature of the rest of the panel. I hope that makes sense. Dual action polisher, you're going to use a microfiber or a foam pad. That's going to create heat. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. And if we have to make multiple passes, we will take a break and let the panel cool down a bit to keep temperatures from really spiking and putting this clear coat through more stress than it should already. Let's get to work. In case you haven't seen it in the first video, key marks all the way back through, practically bumper to bumper. Up here, from this door forward, we've removed them with a combination of wet sanding, wool pad on a rotary. We're going to do this section here with dual action polisher, see how it performs. We're going to keep an eye on the temperature with an infrared thermal camera. We're going to use a dual action polisher, and this is a medium foam cutting pad by Lake Country called the Udos pad, olive in color. I'm going to team it up with the 3D ACA 510. I often am asked, what's the difference between 500 and 510? They are both the same type of abrasive for cutting 1000 grit or finer. This one's designed for wool. This one's designed for wool and foam. I can tell you both are pretty much very much the same. Both can be used for wool and foam, just letting you know. But we're going to use this because that's what it calls for. All right, it's about between 60 and 65 degrees in here. And where are we at? Minimum of 69 or 64 degrees. So I was pretty close. We'll get a measurement after we've polished for a little while, see how that spikes. Door was cracked open a little bit. Now that we have it spread out, we'll turn the polisher up to the mid-speed setting for the brushless DeWalt here. We'll do a crisscross pattern. Now before I wipe the residue off, see the trail, the buffer trail? We are up to -91 degrees. So just a crisscross pattern, we've already crossed the threshold of being within 20 degrees of the 64. So again, heat is the worst enemy to clear coat, and you're going to get some heat with foam and microfiber. So what we'll do is we'll wipe off the residue and we'll see our progress. If we need to make more passes, we're going to wait a little bit until this cools down. Now, we do have a little bit of improvement, but you can still see the scratches coming all the way back, where on this panel, we've eliminated that with the rotary and wet sanding. So it's going to take more passes, and it even feels still warm to the hand. So we're going to let this cool down. We'll grab a microfiber pad, step up the aggression a little bit, and see if we can make even more improvements. But it's better. I mean, from here, you can't see it as to where you could still see that. So we've made improvement. All right, it's cooled down a bit. We don't see any yellows or reds or oranges. We see a little bit of green with the blue. So it's cooled down, and we can make another pass safely. So we took off the olive green medium foam pad, and within the Lake Country Udos line, we have a short wool pad for dual action polishers. Let's see how that works and see how that spikes temperatures. Now with the shorter fibers, you're not going to have the airflow, so it's not going to run quite as cool as a regular foam pad. Temperatures. Well, you can see the bright reds. And I'm not sure if it's going to it's not going to focus correctly, but it was up over 100 degrees. So let's wipe off the residue. Sorry, I couldn't get you a clear picture. It's hard to do everything with one hand. and then have the camera focus in on two different things. But yeah, that pad spiked the temperatures even more. So you're going to see even more improvement now. See from here, you can see the scratch right along there. Pretty much really marked improvement. Has to be finished because that aggressive of pad's going to leave some hazing. You can see that hazing right there. But if you kind of look, you can see it could use still another pass where these are cleared up without another pass needed. So 3 passes with the dual action polisher should match it to the rest of the vehicle. So let me give it one more pass. Pass number 3. And that's really warm to the touch. And you can see the yellows, white. White is really hot. Yellow, red, green, and then blue. So you could see the heat that we're making. And again, up over 100 degrees. Where the rest of the panel here and here, 64 degrees, and then 104 degrees and higher. Let me wipe off the residue. Now from about 5 feet away, you can see the scratches. Move over here, can't see the scratches. So we finally got them. There's just a little bit of a remnant left here. You have to be at the perfect light to see it. But it took 3 passes and a lot more work and a lot more stress on the clear than it did over there with wet sanding and wool attached to a rotary polisher. So despite what some say, which is their opinion and they have the right to it, that the dual action polisher cuts better than a rotary, absolutely not even close. Rotary with a wool pad cuts safer and quicker and cooler. But if you're not comfortable with it, you have to use the dual action polisher if that's what you're used to. So give yourself a little time between passes for the panel to cool down, and you could still get there. It just takes a little bit longer. Just wanted to show you that. So now we just have this quarter panel to go. I'll take care of that and the other side, and also finish this area down. But we're getting there, looking much better. Okay, good friends, that's going to do it for this video. The shop manager is worn out. She is ready to go. We always have fun here late at night. I wanted to show you in order the safest way and the quickest way to correct paint. Number one, wet sanding. Number two, the rotary polisher with a wool pad. And this when it comes to cutting major defects from paint. And then the dual action polisher last. And I recommend getting some panels from a body shop. They are going to be happy to see you. Get rid of those panels. Get some horses from Home Depot or Lowe's. Set them up and practice. I recommend burning through that clear coat on an edge or a peak or a body line first so you get the feel of what that takes. You might be surprised. If you came to one of my classes, you would know it's the first thing we do is burn through the paint with all the polishers. That way you know what not to do as we continue on. But this has been Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. I'll catch you guys in the next video.